Hey everybody, welcome to the race recap for the Broken Wing Racing League GT3 Sprint Championship. In case you're here and you don't know what the Broken Wing Racing League Sprint Championship is, it's a weekly series we run. It's a league. The Discord link will be in the description. Check us out if you want some competitive GT3 racing. We do a bunch of other series. You can look through and see what all we do. You can Google us as well. This was the end of the first half. We had quite an interesting race in the rain at Misano. Uh, Low turnout. The rain sucks, but I understand people love it. It's a big deal. People love the rain, so glad we got it out the way for the season. Glad that's over. Let's take ourselves a look at the points standings here after the first half. So if you take a look, we have a surprise in the pro class that I was not expecting. Mr. Jacob Simmons ran away with the race. If he'd been a little bit faster, he might have caught me and lapped me right before the finish line. I could have maybe had another spot. Neither here nor there. Definitely going to get into the ramifications of that on my end. But he had a killer race, start to finish, crushed it. The extra points we got from this week made it very, very interesting. I really thought Peter had no shot if he just came out and raced, but 517-point week really put him over the edge, and he gets himself another pro dub. Great season. Let's see if we scroll down here. I made a little graph. It's probably kind of tough to see, but let's try and zoom in a little bit. Go to like 200. So this is just the top five at the end of the season and how their seasons kind of went. Jacob is this blue line. He started off high, kind of was middling for a few races, and then really the last couple of races just put on a classic, Jacob Simmons clinic, and came home with the title. Christopher Daniel with a huge push all the way down at 8th at one point, probably a drop week for him here. And then just hard charges back for a surprise second. Let's see who we got. Peter, unfortunate, started off quality podium and was just kind of the cream of the crop for almost this whole season. And then, unfortunately, in the last race, with it being worth extra points, he just got bumped off the top of the mountain here. And then Mark, our resident highlight man, kind of had an up and down season. This is probably a drop week if I had to guess. And he kind of charged back up and kind of was just having himself a season. Doesn't look like he was ever really pushing for the title here. Came into the weekend in 5th, left the weekend in 5th, but nevertheless, a 5th place in a group like this, that is nothing to scoff at. Let's bump back out to 150. Go take a look at our friends over here in the Pro-Am category. And as predicted, Mr. Chitterling was not here, taking a second drop week. And that pretty much cost him any chance he had at this title. It was a battle between Marshall and Chris. Marshall had a chaotic race. I think, even I saw him off the side of the road at one point, which is crazy because I am horrendous in the rain. So nobody should be getting passed by me. And then I saw in the post race, I believe Chris had himself an off as well. Looked like he tailored it into going straight in the pits, but it was not enough. Mr. Marshall Scarry comes out with the Pro-Am first half championship. What a season. We'll take a look. He was neck and neck battling top two kind of this whole season here. If we look at the graph, him and Chris Chitterling just right there the whole season. And then right at the end, Chris having the double zeros at the end of the week just unfortunately crushed his chances. And it was really only ever going to be the three of them. Josh Spears put on a bit of a charge from 13th to 4th. That's pretty impressive. Spencer Smith here jumping, what is this, 11th to 5th. That's quite a jump in the last week. Low participation, extra points online. There was bound to be some big jumps if you were here and you did well. But the top three was kind of always going to be Lambeth, Chitterling, or Marshall, and Marshall came out with the dub. Congrats, Marshall! What a season! I do not forget holding you off at Spa. At the moment, it's looking like the crowning achievement of my year. Let's jump over to my class, the AMs, and as I said, Brandon. I mean, he qualified in like the top 10, maybe the top 5 if I remember right. Just absolutely crushed it, and he had some sputters, some spins, some chaos, but as long as he was there, title was his. It was really, at the time, I thought it was just gonna be a battle for me and Adam to get third. Eric ended up not showing up on a crucial week, unfortunately for Eric, with the extra points on the line. It allowed me and Adam to jump him. And as you can see here, this points difference, 7.5 points between the two of us. If I could have stayed on track and had Jacob pass me and then not have to take that extra lap, and I ended up having to pit for fuel, I might have been second. But, ifs and buts or candies and nuts, it would be Christmas every day. Isn't that right? So, great season for Brandon. Absolutely came in, just slaughtered us down the stretch here. Let's see. I mean, it looks like he was always in contention every week he was here. And then ending off with the nice 420. I know Mr. Lubitsch will like that one. But yeah, what a first half. It was a good run. Let's see. We can go down to we'll go down here to our graph. Let's see. We had, Eric was kind of leading for a while, but that was mostly because he hadn't taken his drop week yet. So his accumulated points were really helping him take charge. You can see Brandon took a drop early, and then he just charged back. It was quite the master class. Adam kind of running a little bit in lockstep with him through the second half of the season. I know VIR, he had a lot of points on hand and had a spin and ended up behind me, which that's a tough look for him, I'm sure. Maybe he gets that. He has a chance here, puts a little more pressure. He unfortunately did not have a great race in the rain. Actually blew me up, but it was an accident. Hits a puddle, takes me out. Is what it is. The rain sucks. And so he really didn't maximize his points haul at the end here. I kind of up and down, did pretty well these first two, probably overperformed. Missed brands because I just couldn't be bothered. I was busy that week. And then Spa and VIR really started to kind of bring it back. And then Tom Smith, way to go to end up in fourth. Had a rough start and just kept grinding and was there every week. Found himself in fifth place. Way to go. And Eric, unfortunately, I really think if he just shows up, he's probably got second on lock. I don't know. But unfortunate, he did not show up. So once again, congrats, Brandon, on your first half title. Quite impressive. You took it to us. Let's see how this goes this next half. Hopefully we can make it more of a contest. I mean, 300 points that's substantial. That is a lot. Finally, we'll get to the rookies. Gage came out. I believe he got second overall. Just, put a stamp on it. He said, this is my title. Nobody else is allowed to have this. 504 points. Just absolutely put a clinic on. Drop week's helping him. Seth was here every week. Obviously, it shows him having more gross points, but does not have him in the net. And the drop week was really Gage's savior there. He got 2 zeros. So, I mean, what could have been if he had none? This graph's a little bit more difficult because our fifth place, Marcelo, was down in 25th at one point, making this graph a little big. let's see. Kind of the top two. This is Seth and Richard Swiderski. Were really making kind of this lockstep rainbow here, and Gage kind of just took off after Brand's just meteoric jumps to secure that first half title. Way to go, William Florence. Can't forget about you. Very consistent. I mean, honestly, the most flat graph we've seen outside of Marshall and Chris Chitterling earlier. So that's really good stuff. Let's once again congratulate Mr. Gage. Congrats on your first half rookie title. It's a tough title. There are some fast dudes in there, and I mean you had to get second overall to secure it because Seth was right behind you and William wasn't very far behind him. Take a look at the teams. Jacob with that monster performance put his team over the top. I really thought our guys here, Marshall, with no longer radio controlled, had it, but we're talking 80 points. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It was a big drop week disparity that helped. So Thunder Thighs Racing, Dylan wasn't even there. Jacob just put the team on his back, said, "Don't worry, I got this," and they took it home. Way to go, boys. Now let's wrap up with the people who will be moving up this week, coming in to the second half here. We've got Richard Swiderski. Looks like he'll be joining the AM class this next season. 5 races, under 73. He showed some pretty good pace throughout the season. I know I saw him on track a few times, a couple of unfortunate, missteps here and there, but overall looks like he'll be a solid contender this second half. Seth Hansen, I know he had a solid first half here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was him battling for the title there with 6. He did all 6 rounds. He was battling for that rookie title, came up just short, but 73, that puts him right in the pro-ams. I think he'll give them pretty much all they can handle. That should be a fun half. And then finally, William Florence getting to 69. Nice. I mean, if his rain pace holds out, like he will be a top am, that's for sure. I mean, he had a killer race there in the rain. So it'll be really interesting to see how these guys assimilate into the the big classes next half season. I know we've got a couple of guys who are at 4, Gage, Marcelo, and Zach. They could have maybe found their way into some classes, but I do not believe they will qualify to join. They'll be rookies again next season. But yeah, we'll jump over to the regular one for some kind of last points here. What a great first half. A lot of fun. A lot of new tracks this next half. I've never driven, so it'll be fun to learn some new stuff. And look forward to it. If further weeks, if anybody has any clips they want to show from the race, talk about, just let me know. Hit me up on Discord, Forrest Holland there, and we'll keep this going throughout the season. I think it'll be a good time. So see y'all this Sunday at Magny Coors.